stick is the number 104.
Thank you. Okay. What am I looking for? Oh, right here. All right. Yep.
You're always talking about the baby. Yes, I will be global.
That extension is not valid. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hello? What?
Miss Curtis, could you make sure you're muted?
I am walking over to the end of the street. Your Honor?
Yes.
I am here with Mr. Cataneo.
All right. Mr. Cataneo, would you please state your name? All right, Mr. Cataneo, you are here on your initial appearance. You have several charges that were on warrant status out of Tucson City Court, including shoplifting and a couple of charges of possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have right to be represented by an attorney in this matter. I am reappointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. It looks like they had been relieved at a previous court date. Sir, we're going to talk about your conditions of release. Because there have been several failures to appear, I am going to maintain the $500 bond that will be cash or secured. If you were to post that bond and be released, you are ordered to possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, to have no contact of any kind with the victim of the shoplifting case and not return to that incident location, and to abide by any previous release conditions that have been ordered in this case. Your next court date will be a video review on March 11th at 1:45. And if you were to bond out, you would have court on April 7th at 9:30 a.m. If you are in custody, the jail will make you available. And if you are released, it'll be your responsibility to appear. If you fail to appear, a warrant can be issued for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today. Yep. And then I don't believe it's marked on the Excel spreadsheet, but my understanding is that number 2 is Spanish speaking. I can't really see the screen well enough to tell if the interpreter is on the line. So can I confirm?
I'm on the line, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All right. Good morning. Please state your name.
Buenos días, señor. Por favor, diga su nombre en voz alta.
Sergio Cuevas Sosa.
Sergio Cuevas Sosa.
Mr. Cuevas Sosa, you are here for your initial appearance on charges of assault. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
One moment, Your Honor. Buenos días, señor Cuevas Sosa. Usted se encuentra aquí el día de hoy para su comparecencia inicial con cargos de agresión. Usted tiene el derecho de guardar silencio. Todo lo que usted diga se puede y se usará en su contra.
I am appointing Jill Gukin to represent you in this matter.
Estoy nombrando a Jill Cookin para que lo represente en este asunto.
And I do want to let you know that there are a couple of holds that are in place for you. So even if you were to be released on this matter, you would be held on those matters. And that includes a hold from Superior Court, a felony hold, and also an immigration hold.
También quiero informarle, señor, que hay varias órdenes de retención contra usted, así que si lo dejo en libertad en este asunto, todavía se va a quedar detenido a causa de esas órdenes de retención que están en su contra. Por ejemplo, tiene una orden de retención del Tribunal Superior por un delito mayor o felonía y también tiene una orden de retención del Departamento de Inmigración.
And so I am just going to order a small bond of $250 so that you will be held and able to deal with this case.
Entonces voy a ordenar una fianza pequeña de $250 para que usted, si se queda detenido, pueda entonces encargarse de este caso.
And your next court date in this case is going to be tomorrow, March 5th at 1 p.m. before Judge Cornejo.
Y su próxima audiencia en este caso es para mañana, el 5 de marzo a la 1 de la tarde, con el juez Cornejo.
If you were to post bond, be released because those other holds went away and failed to appear for that court date, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Si usted paga la fianza y lo dejan salir, de alguna manera, si se quitan todas esas órdenes de retención y usted no se presenta a su audiencia mañana, entonces se puede emitir una orden por su arresto. ¿Entiende usted esto?
Sí.
Of course.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
Gracias, señor. Ya se puede retirar por el día de hoy.
Gracias.
And I don't believe there are any other Spanish speakers. Does anyone have any reason to believe there are?
No, Your Honor, that's good.
Thank you. Then the interpreter is excused. Thank you.
Thank you, Honor. Interpreter disconnecting.
Oh, yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Did you already see three of the listeners? No, that's it. Fisher? Fisher's next? Yep.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Jerron Fisher.
Mr. Fisher, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of assault. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice. I am going to appoint Anna Dennis to represent you. I am going to also let you know that there is a hold on you for another case. It looks like there's a bond for you on another case. So regardless of what I did today, you would not be released because of that hold. Turning to your conditions of release, I'm going to order a $250 bond in this case that is cash or secured. And I am going to appoint Anna Dennis to represent you in this case. And your next court date is going to be March 5th at 1 p.m. That is before Judge Cornejo. And that way you'll be able to get this issue rolling quickly.
Is it a felony?
No, this is a misdemeanor. And no contact with the alleged victim as a condition of release. And then if you were to fail to appear for any future court hearings, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand? All right, thank you. You're excused for today. Please state your name.
Wesley Minter.
Mr. Minter, this is the time for your initial appearance. You have a charge out of Nogales Municipal Court for knowingly displaying a fictitious license plate. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear at future court dates, and your next court date is going to be March 26th at 10 a.m. at Nogales Municipal Court. If you were to fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, you're excused for today.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Eduardo Guerrero Valencia.
Sorry, what's your last name?
Jesus Eduardo Guerrero Valencia. Guerrero Valencia.
All right, here you are, way down the list. Number 60. All right. All right, Mr. Let me get the right one up here. Mr. Guerrero Valencia, you're here for your initial appearance. Looks like you have charges of being a fugitive from justice from Marion County, Oregon, and charges of assault.
At Marion County?
Or maybe that those are the original charges. Sorry, the way it was written here, it looks like they were separate. Yeah.
I don't have no connects with Marion County.
This indicates that you absconded from McLaren Youth Correctional Facility.
I think that's incorrect. I was incarcerated, but I was let go. and I went to a program, but I was released. I never ran from any correctional facility or nothing.
Okay.
So,
Let me see.
yeah, I was let go through like revision, and like everybody ran my papers, and they were like, okay, you should be good to go. And I went to a program, and then after the program, I went home, and I was on probation after that. And I violated my parole, so basically it's what it is. I'm on parole violation.
Oh, okay, you're on a parole violation. All right. So there's an allegation that you are in violation of your parole. Okay, so we are going to talk about your conditions of release today, sir. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $50,000. I have also reviewed information on the interim complaint, and I see an NCIC warrant that was issued for you.
What's the NCIC one?
It's like a nationwide warrant.
Oh, okay.
Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Would the defense like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask for an extradition hearing and a lower bond in his case, and to appoint the legal defender's office.
All right. I am appointing the legal defender to represent you, and you do have counsel seated next to you for today's hearing. I forgot to say that earlier. I will set this for a fugitive warrant hearing on March 10th at 2:30. I will set a $25,000 bond. Sorry, did someone have something to say?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Like I said.
If you were to fail to appear for future hearings, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Your Honor.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Is it cash or secured?
Yes, both. Morning, please state your name. I think you're still on mute.
Jordan Alcozer?
Great, Mr. Alcozer, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of domestic violence assault, theft, and disorderly conduct. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. Mr. Alcozer, if I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear, would you appear for your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And further orders would be that you have no contact of any kind with Angelina Montante. Is that something you can abide by as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear. Your next court date, well, additional conditions of release are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, possess no firearms or weapons, that you have no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to her residence or workplace or the incident location. And your next court date will be March 14th at 10:30 a.m. before Judge Ball. If you were to fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear?
Yes, ma'am. I'll write it down. The date.
You're going to get paperwork with it.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
And do you have any other questions?
No.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Garcia, on the bench. Marlene, that's out of the voice. All you up here.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Good morning, Conchita Garcia.
Ms. Garcia, you're here for your initial appearance on charges of violating a court order. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney can be appointed on your behalf. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. And if I were to order that you are released on your promise to appear at your next court date, would you actually, hold on, let me see. There's some information I didn't see here before. All right. Apologies, I had the wrong file. So you are here on charges of domestic violence assault. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney will be appointed to represent you. I was not provided with any information from pretrial services about this case. So I do not know if the alleged victim is willing to have any contact with you or not. So at this time, I am ordering no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to the victim's residence or workplace. Just a moment.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to talk about your conditions of release. And you wanted to say something. I do want to reiterate that you have the right to remain silent, and anything you say can and will be used against you. So I would not want you to say anything about the alleged offense. Is there something else you want me to know?
Just that I haven't seen or spoken to the victim since the case, and he is deceased as of 2021.
Oh, okay. And what is the date of these allegations?
2019, I believe.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, ma'am, is order that. Do you have any reason to be in touch with the alleged victim's family?
No.
So I'm going to order no contact with the alleged victim's family. And I am going to order that you're held on a bond of $500. You're going to have a court date tomorrow at 1 p.m. before Judge Cornejo. And I am going to appoint Anna Dennis to represent you. If you were to post bond and be released, it would be your responsibility to appear for court. And if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
All right. You're all set for today. Thank you.
Mitchell? Down the set, far right, it's up left.
I'm sorry, what?
Please state your name.
Megan Mitchell.
All right. You are here for your initial appearance, Ms. Mitchell, on charges of failure to comply with a court order. Being at a residence you were not supposed to be at. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney will be appointed on your behalf. If I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear at your next court date, would you appear?
Yes, ma'am.
And additional orders will be that you have no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to the incident location, so the place you were at that you were not supposed to be, allegedly. Will you be able to abide by those conditions?
Yes. Yes.
And would you need to return there with a law enforcement escort to pick up your belongings?
Yes, and my children, possibly, if I'm allowed to.
Okay. Let me look at. Right, so this doesn't give me any details about your children, so I don't know if there are any orders from a different case regarding them. So I am going to order that you're released on your promise to appear. Additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, commit no acts of domestic violence, possess no firearms or weapons, no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to the incident location. However, you can go one time with a police escort to pick up your belongings and possibly your children if that's appropriate. You're welcome. You'll take my order to the local police station, the closest one to the residence, and they will escort you. Okay? Your next court date is going to be March 14th at 10:30 a.m. with Judge Ball. If you fail to appear for that court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
All right. You're excused for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peterson, Ranger, what's your shirt, sir?
Great. Good morning, Mr. Peterson. Please state your name.
Brendan Joseph Peterson, Granger.
Thank you. All right. So you are here for your initial appearance on a number of matters. It looks like we have a new charge of possession of drug paraphernalia out of Pima County Justice Court. And then there are several matters from Tucson City Court here as well, which include
I didn't know that I had those two hearings, but I'm sorry I didn't know that.
okay. They include charges of shoplifting, disorderly conduct, possession of drug paraphernalia, reckless burning, additional charges of possession of drug paraphernalia.
I thought I had all that stuff taken care of already.
Right. So, and it looks like there's a petition to revoke probation. Do I need to do something with this?
You just need to read the top part that says what you hear.
Okay. Do I need to put a date on it at the bottom? Okay, great. So you are also, there's a petition to revoke your probation in CM 22014239, which indicates
I have to stay in county jail.
that you failed to remain law-abiding, that you failed to comply with the agency, that you failed to appear for a review hearing, and that you consumed or possessed illegal drugs in violation of your probation. So on all of these things, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. On the Justice Court matter, I am going to appoint Jill Gookin to represent you.
Am I going to stay in jail?
Yes, I am going to order. So we're going to talk about your conditions of release in each of these jurisdictions now. So on the new charge, I'm just going to order a bond of $150, cash or secured. If you do post that bond and are released, the additional release condition is that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, and that your next court date for that case is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. before Judge Cornejo. And then for your Tucson City Court charges, I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you, and I'm going to order a bond of $250, cash or secured. Additional conditions are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you have no contact of any kind with the victims of the theft, and do not return to the incident location of the theft. Your next court date for your city court cases is going to be March 13th.
How far is that from now?
Sorry?
How far is that from now?
9 days.
Okay.
And that's at 1:45 p.m. before Judge Blue. That'll be your same court date if you happen to post bond and be released.
Okay.
If you were to fail to appear for any of your court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Good.
All right.
I'll be in jail, right?
Unless you can post the bail, yes.
Okay. Okay.
You're excused for today. Thank you.
Okay.
Please state your name.
Robert Sylvain.
Mr. Sylvain, you're here for your initial appearance. On charges of criminal trespass, domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney can be appointed on your behalf. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today. If I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear, would you appear for your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And if additional orders were that you have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to their residence or workplace, would you be able to abide by those conditions as well?
Yes.
So I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear. Additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, possess no firearms or weapons, that you have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to their residence or workplace. Your next court date is going to be April 2nd at 10:30 a.m. That's at Oro Valley City Court. If you were to fail to appear for that court date, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you. Guys.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. Good morning. Please state your name.
Anastasia Sykes.
Ms. Sykes, you are here for your initial appearance. And it looks like you have charges of disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, and an older failure to appear on a criminal damage to property. Those are all domestic violence offenses. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed to represent you. Ma'am, I'm going to talk about your conditions of release now. If I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear at your next court date, would you appear for your next court dates?
Yes, I would.
And additional orders will be that you have no contact with the alleged victims and do not return to their residence or workplace, and that you establish an alternative address for yourself. Are those things you can do?
Yes, I can.
Oh, it looks like you also have, those are all out of justice court. You also have a city court that also has a disorderly conduct and a criminal damage. So we'll talk about that one next. Right now we're dealing with the justice court cases. All right, so I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear at your next court date. Let's see. Additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, that you possess no firearms or weapons, that you have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to their residence or workplace, and abide by any previous conditions of release. Do you need to return to the victim's residence or incident location with a law enforcement escort to pick up any belongings?
No, I don't.
All right, your next court date for the justice court cases is going to be March 24th at 9 a.m. That's before Judge Foster. If you were to fail to appear at that hearing, a warrant could issue for your arrest. And then in the city court case, just take a quick look at this. For the city court case, is also the time for your arraignment. So I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You are presumed to be innocent. You have the right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and under certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed to represent you. If you fail to appear, not only can the hearings go forward without you, including your trial. Not only can a warrant issue for your arrest, but the hearings can go forward without you, including a trial. And if you are convicted and fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. And so on that case, I'm also going to order that you are released on your promise to appear. Was Thomas Winkle someone you were romantically involved with or otherwise? All right, so your next court date is going to be April 1st at 1:30 on your Tucson City Court case. That's before Judge Millian. And the additional orders in this case are to possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, to commit no acts of domestic violence, possess no firearms or weapons, have no contact with Thomas Winkle, and do not go to his residence or workplace. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear for future court dates?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you. Hey.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Today.
That's not the right one. 103. Okay. Mr. Hain, this is the time for your initial appearance and arraignment on charges of criminal destruction and disorderly conduct. Those are both domestic violence offenses. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You are presumed to be innocent, and I am going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf today. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. And if you fail to appear at future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. The hearings can also go forward in your absence. That includes a trial. And if you're convicted and then fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. So we're going to talk about your conditions of release. If I were to release you on your promise to appear at your next court date, would you appear for your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I made additional orders that you could not have any contact with Raven Porter and that you could not return to the victim's residence or incident location, would you have somewhere to go?
Yes.
And would you need to go to that location to pick up any of your belongings?
No.
All right, so I am going to order that you're released on your promise to appear at future court dates. And additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, that you have no contact with Raven Porter, that you do not return to his residence or the incident location. Your next court date is April 7th. That's at 9:30 a.m. before Judge Mayhew at Tucson City Court. If you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Is that the wrong one? Oh. Yay. Good morning. Please state your name. Mr. Mathis, you are here for your initial appearance after arrest on warrant in cases out of Tucson City Court involving charges of endangerment, assault, and disorderly conduct. Those are all domestic violence offenses. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to hire your own attorney, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed on your behalf. So it looks like this was issued when you did not appear on your court date after your previous release. Sir, if you were released today, would you appear at your next court date?
Yes.
And I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear today. And your next court date is going to be, is this April 1? April 1st. That's at 1:30 before Judge Million. Additional conditions are that you abide by the previous release conditions, which included no contact with Leticia Jones, do not go to her residence.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So when I was just on pre-trial release, and I was told case dismissed.
I don't have anything in here that would suggest that your case is dismissed. I showed that you were supposed to appear for court on October 8th of 2024, that you did not appear, and that the judge issued a warrant for your arrest.
Excuse me, Judge, I just want to say something. Because I'm a little confused because I was just working for the Beacon Group, and they was helping me get my fingerprint card. So when I got I know I was going to get a letter in the mail telling me that they weren't going to approve me. And then it said that I had 3 warrants for my arrest from August 26th or something like that, and that the warrants was issued on October or something. That I filled the court in October. I was just a little confused because I was here in August and got released August 26th, I think. And that's when it said that it was put out, the warrants was put out. And then I do pre-trial release about this case, and then I'm calling pre-trial release, I call McCollum, and they tell me case dismissed. I never hear nothing again. I didn't even know nothing about this, and it sounds like the same exact thing. I'm confused here.
Okay, well, I'm giving you another chance to appear for court. The case has not been dismissed. The hearing is set for April 4th. You are going to be released, or sorry, April 1st. You are going to be released on your promise to appear. And the additional orders are that you have no contact with Leticia Jones, don't go to her home or workplace, abide by any other previous conditions of release. And if you fail to appear on April 1st, a warrant can issue for your arrest, sir. Do you understand? Thank you. You're excused for today. Good morning. Please state your name.
Richard Miller.
Great. Mr. Miller, you are here on charges of theft. It looks like you failed to appear for a hearing and a warrant was issued for your arrest. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney may be appointed for you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release today, sir. Because this has been going on since 2017, which is close to 8 years, I am inclined to hold you on a bond. So I am going to order a bond of $500, cash or secured, and that you have no contact of any kind with the alleged victim of the theft. Do not return to the incident location. Your next court date is going to be on March 14th at 1:45. If you were to post bond and be released, your court date would be April 8th, 2025 at 9 a.m. If you were to fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Hello.
Good morning. Please state your name.
My first name is John, last name is K-M-A-K.
Great. Mr. Kamak, you are here for your initial appearance and arraignment on charges of disorderly conduct. It is a domestic violence offense. And you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You are presumed to be innocent, and I am going to enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf today. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and in certain circumstances, an attorney can be appointed to represent you. I marked the public defender. I did, I just didn't say it. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. Sir, if I were to order that you be released on your promise to appear at your next court date, would you appear at your next court date?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I am going to do that. And it looks like your mother is not objecting to having further contact with you. I didn't have that information earlier, so I am not going to order anything regarding contact with her. I am going to order that you do not commit any acts of domestic violence, that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, and that you contact your assigned probation officer first thing tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
And your next court date is going to be April 3rd. That is at 9 a.m. And if you fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Not only that, but the hearings can go forward in your absence. That includes trial. And if you are convicted at trial and fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you. So that's taking out statements. Getting like
Yes, he asked still to be asleep.
Great. I don't know, just think.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Solomon E. Geary.
Mr. Aguirre, you are here this morning for your initial appearance on charges of aggravated assault, endangering the life or health of a minor. Yeah, I made myself a Post-it. And child abuse. It is my understanding that Laura Curtis is also on the line. Mr. Aguirre, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice. I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and there is an attorney seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, and it's my understanding that Ms. Curtis would like to be heard. And Ms. Curtis, you may need to hit *6 in order to unmute, and then you can go ahead and let me know what you want me to know regarding conditions of release.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can I speak?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so I spoke with pretrial services this morning, and I legitimately object to the release of Solomon Aguirre because he quote unquote said that if I involved law enforcement and he was arrested, he was going to have me snuffed out. And he also has access to firearms. I supplied CPD with a video of him holding a firearm, pointing it at the camera, and he has made several threats ongoing on a daily basis here at this house. And he also cut his sister's arm last night with a knife that he had in his possession and assaulted her, which I also provided them video of.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anything else you'd
like to? And I fear for my kids.
Okay.
I just fear for my kids, and I just don't want to be anywhere around him.
Okay. Thank you so much for providing that input this morning. So I have heard from the victim now. I have also reviewed information from pretrial services.
Your Honor?
Just a moment. And then I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held, sir, on a bond of $15,000 plus pretrial services if released. And I believe Mr. Poston has more to add.
Your Honor, given what we've heard, and given the recency of the kidnapping conviction, the state's going to modify its recommendation to $25,000. Given the mom's concerns, given the additional detail, and given the state of terror it would appear the defendant put his victims in, the state believes $25,000 is more appropriate.
All right. Thank you for that. Defense.
Yes, Rona, can I have one moment to speak with Mr. Aguirre?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, for Mr. Aguirre has no failures to appear in the last 2 years. He is a lifelong Tucson resident. He reports to me that he is employed full-time, and he also reported to me that he would have housing outside, separate from the alleged victims in the case, with his grandmother, or that he can contact his parole officer and receive housing through that avenue. So we would ask for release of pretrial services, or in the alternative, to lower the bond.
Judge,
Yes.
I wasn't aware he was on parole. The information that now that it's been updated, yes, he is on parole. I would have every reason to believe they're going to file a PTR. So again, the state urges the court to set a high bond.
I think for me,
All right. Sir, I am very concerned about the risk you pose to your family and to the community. So I am going to order a bond of $20,000. That'll be cash or secured. If you were to post that bond and be released, you'd be released to pretrial services custody. The additional orders would be that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, that you possess no firearms or weapons, and surrender any firearms or weapons that are in your possession to local law enforcement, that you have no contact with the alleged victim, that you do not return to the incident location.
I don't know what's wrong with
I'm also ordering no contact with Laura Thomas. That you do establish an alternate address and that you contact your assigned parole officer on the first working day following your release from custody. Your next court date is going to be March 14th. That is at 1:30 in the afternoon. If you were to post bond and be released and then fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant would issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today. Good morning. Please state your name.
Alex Bueno Jr.
Was that Alex Bueno Jr.?
Yeah.
All right, you are here today, sir, on your initial appearance on several charges, including criminal trespass in the first degree, possession of dangerous drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, and additional charges of possession of dangerous drugs and drug paraphernalia. You also have shoplifting charges that were on warrant status.
Yeah.
And, sorry, sir, just a moment. And you have some matters out of Tucson City Court as well, which include threats or intimidation, criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, prescription drug offense, possession of drug paraphernalia, a couple of theft, shoplifting charges, criminal trespass, reckless burning, additional disorderly conduct, and criminal damage. In all of these matters, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. In the felony matters, I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and counsel is seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. We're going to talk about your conditions of release.
All right.
And I have the information that was provided by pretrial services. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on consecutive bonds of $10,000 for the criminal trespass and $5,000 each on the drug charges. Would the state like to be heard further?
State submits.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bueno has been a lifelong resident of Tucson. He reports that he is employed full time. Two of his felony charges are steps eligible, and these were all non-violent offenses according to pretrial services. So we'd ask for release to pretrial services in this case.
Challenge. Right. Okay, I have another one, attorney.
And it doesn't have it on his, but the code, he's one of the co-defendants. It's 313, right?
Yeah, one of the co-defendants that he's it's in or out.
Okay, great. All right. All right, so sir, let's see. On these new felony charges, well, on the criminal trespass for residential structure, I am going to order that you be held on a bond of $10,000 that's going to be cash or secured. I am going to make that concurrent between all of the new felony charges.
What does that mean?
And in that case, the additional orders, if you were to postpone and be released, are that you submit to monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, that you do not drive without a valid license, possess no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you have no contact with the alleged victims, do not return to the incident location, and do not have contact with your co-defendants. Your next court date is going to be March 13th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. For the oh, I see. Same thing here. Yeah, I did the wrong one. Okay. That's why it didn't have the correct information. Remove all of that stuff, and then I'll have to find it in the... Yep, I'm doing it on that one right now. Okay. All right, and then for the drug paraphernalia charges, would you like me to set a steps hearing? That is a hearing to determine eligibility for pretrial diversion.
Yeah.
So I will set that hearing as well. That'll be on March 11th at 9 a.m.
Your Honor,
Yes.
on the preliminary hearing date, I believe you set that for March 13th. But 10 days from now should be the 14th, I believe.
And I believe the steps hearings are not going forward on the 14th because the judge who does them is covering for initial appearances that morning.
All right.
And then, so the steps hearing will be March 11th, and then the hearing for all of the preliminary hearing for all of the charges will be March 13th at 1:30. And right, that is for the purpose of keeping all the co-defendants on the same court date. One of them was seen yesterday. I don't know if they can hear you. So I was just repeating everything.
Who's that?
Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry, just making sure.
And let's see. No alcohol or illegal drugs. Monitoring by pretrial services on that case as well. And then on the shoplifting charge, I'm just going to put a $100 bond on that, and that way you can be heard on that charge tomorrow. That'll be March 5th at 1 p.m. with Judge Cornejo. The other conditions of release are that you do not return to the incident location and have no contact with the alleged victim. I think I didn't put the concurrent language. Thank you. And then on the city court cases, did I accidentally give you, oh no, it's here. Thank you. Never mind. On the new city court cases, this is also your arraignment, so I will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. You know that you seem to be innocent, and that if you fail to appear for your city court cases, not only can a warrant issue for your arrest, but the hearings can also go forward in your absence. That includes your trial, and if you are convicted and fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Right, it looks like these are not intimate partners. So do you want to put Anna Dennis? Sure. Okay. On the Justice Court shoplifting case, I forgot to say that you will have an attorney appointed to represent you, and that will be Anna Dennis. And then for the city court charges, I am going to order a bond of $250, cash or secured as well. Additional conditions of release for that you commit no acts of domestic violence, have no contact of any kind with the alleged victims, do not return to the incident locations for any of the trespass or domestic or allegations of theft, disorderly conduct, criminal damage. Don't return to any of those locations. Possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. And I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender, if I didn't already say that. Your next court date, if you remain in custody, will be a video review hearing on March 14th at 1:45 before Judge Verena. And if you are released, it will be April 3rd at 9 a.m. If you fail to appear for any of your hearings, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today.
Judge, real quick, the 250 city bond, which charge was that for?
All of them?
Okay.
Here.
Oh. Thank you. Mr. Aguirre, I didn't give you your court date for the city charges. So for those charges, I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. Your next court date will be March 14th at 1:45 for a video review. If you were to post bond and be released, then your next court date would be April 1st at 9 a.m. Your bond in that case is $250 cash or secured. You're further ordered to possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, to commit no acts of domestic violence, to possess no firearms or weapons, to have no contact of any kind with the alleged victims, do not return to the incident location. And a warrant can also be issued for your arrest if you fail to appear in that charge. In that charge, I have entered a plea of not guilty for you. You are presumed to be innocent. The hearings can also go forward in your absence, including a trial. And were you to be convicted and fail to appear for sentencing for at least 90 days, you can lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you.
No. Sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Excuse me. Eugene? Good morning. Please state your name.
Chris.
Are you Chris Cameron?
Yeah.
This is the time for your initial appearance. You're here on charges of, excuse me, theft of means of transportation, burglary in the third degree, unlawful possession of narcotic drugs, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, as well as city court cases that were in failure to appear status for charges of driving under the influence and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice, and I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you on these new felony charges. All right, so we're going to talk about your conditions of release. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. I have reviewed the interim complaint. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $3,500 plus release to pretrial services if that bond is posted. Does the state have anything to add?
No, Your Honor. The 5 out of 6, and he has a probation violation warrant. He's been detained without bond, which is the reason for the nominal bond.
Yes, and sir, I should have also mentioned that you are being held on another matter as well. So even if you were released on this matter, you would not be released until that was resolved. Would the defense like to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. In light of the probation hold and that he's detained without bond, we'd ask for a nominal bond to be placed in this case of $500.
Thank you. All right, so I will order that you be held on a bond of $1,500, cash or secured. If you were to be released on this case, further orders would be that you have no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to the incident locations, possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. And your next court date will be right. Your next court date is going to be March 14th. That's at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing at Pima County Justice Court. You'll want to keep in touch with your attorney as that date could change. And if you were to be released and fail to appear for that court date, a warrant could issue for your arrest. If you remain in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing. And then on the city court cases, I am going to order that you be held on a bond of $500. Your next court date is going to be a video review out on March 14th. That's at 1:45 in the afternoon before Judge Maldonado. If you were to be released before then your court date would be April 14th at 9 a.m. Same judge. Additional conditions are that you do not drive without a valid license, possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. And I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. And if you fail to appear for any of your court dates, the warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're excused for today. I think I got that updated correctly, but let me know if I missed anything.
You're right.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I'd like to waive reading of the charges in this case.
Okay. Please state your name.
Damien Sansa.
Great, Mr. Sanso, this is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice, and I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. I have additionally reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $60,000 and pretrial services if released. Would the state like to be heard further?
Your Honor, the state recommends the bond that it has based on the fact that there is a specific discernible person and there has been a lot that has already occurred, and the state has a compelling interest to protect the victim in this matter from being manipulated, and also from further victimization. This case and the nature of the charges demand a high bond, and therefore the state has made its recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Senso has no prior convictions. He has no prior failure to appear. He's a lifelong Tucson resident. His grandfather said that he's willing to take third-party custody of Mr. Senso, and he's only 18 years old. I'd ask for release of pretrial services, or if not inclined, then a lower bond.
And do you have a recommendation about what bond, what would be an appropriate lower bond?
One moment for me, Your Honor, please.
Your Honor, while defense discusses this, I would like to put on record that absolute prohibition on contact with minors, specifically the victim here, but all minors in general, or for
Your Honor, any bond would be difficult for Mr. Senso to post, but so we'd leave it up to your discretion.
So at this point in time, I am going to order that you be held on a bond of $15,000 cash or secured. You'll be released to pretrial services if you are able to post that bond. Additional orders are that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, that you possess no firearms or weapons, that you have absolutely no contact with the alleged victim, do not go to the incident location. Is it my understanding that there would be no minors at the residence that you suggested, defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
So not to have any any contact with minors, and just to make it extra clear, even while you remain in custody, do not initiate any contact of any kind with the alleged victim, no messages, no phone calls, nothing like that. Your next court date is going to be March 14th. That is at 1:30 in the afternoon. That is for a preliminary hearing. It's possible that date can change, so stay in good touch with your attorney. If you fail to appear for any future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Thank you. You're excused.
Brown check right here. Yes, sir.
Please state your name.
Jeremiah Vaughn.
Mr. Vaughn, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of domestic violence, child abuse. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice. And I am appointing, oops, that's the wrong one. The public defender to represent you in this case. You also have counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. The other charges include shoplifting, three different charges of misdemeanor shoplifting from August and June of last year, and one from September of last year. On all of these charges, you have the right to remain silent, and anything you say can and will be used against you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release, starting with the new felony charges. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services about you. I have also reviewed the interim complaint, and I have reviewed the state's recommendation. The state recommends that you be held on a bond of $50,000 and released to pretrial services if that bond is posted. Would the state like to be heard further?
Your Honor, due to the defendant's negligence, recklessness, or just plain bad choices, the person, the victim, who is a minor, has suffered a gunshot wound to his hand. This, of course, is predicated on the fact that the defendant left a loaded handgun within the reach of a minor and left it unattended. This is the height of negligence. This person should be held accountable and is clearly a danger if they're leaving guns around toddlers, or however old the younger is. 50,000.
And defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Vaughn has no prior convictions. He has no prior failure to appear. And the pretrial service report indicates that the alleged victim would not object to his release. He's only 19 years old. We'd asked for release to pretrial services. And he also indicates to me that he was unaware of his misdemeanor charges. And so that was the reason for his failure to appear.
And I'm sorry, did you say anything about whether he has somewhere else to go? Other than where this occurred?
One moment, Your Honor. He reports to me that he can live with his father. With different minors.
Oh, my younger sister. She's 17.
So, Mr. Vaughn, I am going to order that you be held on a bond, but I'm only going to order a bond of $2,500. That'll be cash or secured. If you post that bond, you'll be released to the custody of pretrial services. At this point in time, I'll be ordering that if you are released, you have no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to the incident location. I'm also ordering that you possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, that you commit no acts of domestic violence, that you possess no firearms, and sir, if there are any firearms in your possession, that you surrender them to local law enforcement immediately. So that's Tucson Police or Sheriff's Office.
Ma'am, PD went to my house and took all my firearms.
Okay. If you were to come into possession of any other firearms, You must surrender them immediately. You may not possess any firearms.
Yes, ma'am.
Your next court date is going to be March 14th at 1:30. That's for a preliminary hearing. That court date can change, so keep in touch with your attorney. And then turning to the shoplifting charges. I am ordering a bond of $250 cash or secured. That will be, if you do post that and are released, additional orders will be no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any firearms, no contact with the victims of the shoplifting, do not return to the incident location. The next court date for that will be March 11th at 1:30 for an arraignment. And on the charges, Miranda. I am going to order a bond of $100. You'll be heard on that charge tomorrow at noon. And I am appointing Janet Altschuler to represent you.
Can I pay it today?
Sir, let me finish this up and then I will answer your question. Same conditions in that case, including no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, no contact with the alleged victims, and don't return to the incident locations for those Marana City charges. And yes, if you are able to post bond, you'd be able to post it today, and you would need to post bond in all of your cases to be released. If you are released and you fail to appear for any of your hearings, a warrant will issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
It's Carol. You're up there.
Morning, please state your name. What's your name?
Chester Carroll.
Mr. Carroll, this is the time for your initial appearance on charges of possession of a dangerous drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. You also have charges of disorderly conduct. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice, and for the felony charges, I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and there is counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. It looks like you are eligible for the steps. Oh, actually, never mind. It looks like the state is recommending that the drug charges be dismissed. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the felony drug charges are being dismissed today, sir. So you will be released on those. And then you also have the disorderly conduct charge. And sir, I am going to order that you be released on those as well. Your next court date is going to be March 14th at 8:30 before Judge Ball at Pima County Justice Court. You're ordered to have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to the incident location of the disorderly conduct, which is the Soul Flower Dispensary. If you fail to appear for your next court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Isn't it?
Okay.
So I'll be out today? Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah, I don't see anything else holding you. So you're excused for today, but if you fail to appear for your next hearing, a warrant can issue for your arrest.
All right. And we already spot Taylor. We got his number. Going up to follow up anything. Yes. It's fine.
Please state your name.
Dasha Blada.
Ms. Blada, this is the time for your initial appearance. You have new felony charges of possession of dangerous drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. You also have failure to appear on misdemeanor charges, one for shoplifting out of Pima County Justice Court and one for theft out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. For the new felony charges, I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. And I have reviewed the recommendation for the state, that you be held on a bond of $5,000 and released to pretrial services if you post that bond. Would the state like to add anything?
No, Your Honor.
And defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Blata is eligible for steps. She's lived here in Tucson for 13 years, and this was a nonviolent offense. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
And just to make sure there's not a probation hold.
I don't see one, Your Honor.
I wasn't aware of one, Your Honor. However, state feels the bond is appropriate given the sheer quantity of drugs.
Great. So I will set the steps hearing for March 11th at 9 a.m. Ma'am, at that hearing, you'll be able to find out if you are going to be eligible for a pre-indictment diversion program. And I am going to order that you be held on a bond of $500 cash or secured. And so your preliminary hearing will be set for March 14th at 1:30. If you post your bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll be required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. And then on your
I'm feeling really sick.
on your shoplifting charge out of Justice Court, I will order that you are released on your promise to appear, and your next court date will be March 14th at 8:30 before Judge Ball. No contact with the alleged victim, and do not return to the incident location. No alcohol or illegal drugs. And then for your Tucson City Court case, your next court date is going to be April 18th at 9 a.m. That's before Judge Cranshaw. No contact with the alleged victim in that case. Do not return to the incident location. And I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. You will be released on your promise to appear for that case as well. And possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. If you were to fail to appear for any of your court dates after being released, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
So we're making
My whiteout isn't working anymore, so I couldn't white out the AM, PM are both checked.
Three for anybody to see. Three. Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Local Virginia Dean Kareem.
Mr. Kareem, this is the time for your initial appearance. It looks like you have a few new felony charges, including aggravated assault, resisting arrest, criminal trespass to a residential structure. And then you also have some older charges that were on failure to appear status, including possession of drug paraphernalia, resisting arrest, and assault. Those were all misdemeanors. And you also have some cases out of, or sorry, that does include the cases out of Tucson City Court. So the Drug paraphernalia was Pima County Justice Court, and the resisting arrest and assault were out of Tucson City Court. So we're going to talk about these conditions of release one at a time. On all of these charges, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. For the new felony charges, I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. You do have the right to hire the attorney of your choice. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. I have also reviewed the interim complaint in the new charges. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held without bond. And I am just looking at the criminal history. So it looks like you were on release for drug charges from October and November of 2024 at the time that these allegations occurred. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking Mr. Poston.
It appears so, Your Honor.
So when you are on release for felony offenses and you are charged with a new felony that occurred after you were released, then the state does have the right to request that you be held without bond, and we'll set a hearing for that. And that hearing is going to be on March 10th at 2:30. And then your preliminary hearing will be March 14th at 1:30. And that's where the March 10th hearing is where it will be determined if you will have conditions of release. And then looking at the misdemeanor out of misdemeanor D. Oh. So it was showing up as possession of drug paraphernalia on here, but it's showing in the system as a failure to appear on a driving under the influence charge out of Pima County Justice Court. So I will go ahead and order that you be held on that charge so that you can be heard on that tomorrow. I'm just going to put in a bond of $100, cash or secured. No driving without a valid license, no alcohol or illegal drugs on that case. And then on your Tucson City Court charges, I will order a bond of $250, cash or secured. Your next court date on those charges is going to be March 14th at 1:45. If you were to receive bond in your felony case and post bond and be released on all charges, your next court date in city court won't be until April 8th. And additional orders in that case are that you do not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, that you have no contact of any kind with the alleged victims, do not return to the incident locations, abide by any prior conditions of release, and the City of Tucson Public Defender will be appointed to represent you in those Tucson City Court charges. If you were to post bond and be released and then fail to appear for any of your future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand that, Mr. Kareem?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Kareem, thank you. You're excused for today.
Hey, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
You're done.
I didn't hear the last part that she said.
Oh, sir, if you fail to appear for any future court date, if you happen to be released and then fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest.
Okay. Keller. Yeah.
One is 18, okay, great. My contact victim. Great. Please state your name.
Joshua Keller.
Mr. Keller, this is the time for your initial appearance. Looks like you have new charges of organized retail theft this morning, as well as failure to appear out of Pima County Justice Court on charges that include shoplifting, possession of drug paraphernalia, reckless burning, and then you also have failure to appear matters out of Tucson City Court, which include charges of criminal trespass, shoplifting, and possession of drug paraphernalia. So we're going to start with the newest matter and then work through the others. You have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In the felony matters, I am appointing the public defender to represent you. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $10,000 and, if posted, released to pretrial services on the new organized retail theft charges. And I have also reviewed the interim complaint. Which details over 60 prior incident report numbers of shoplifting from that location. Does the state wish to be heard further?
Just to note that this is a 6 out of 6. He has a warrant over 60 incidents, Your Honor.
Thank you. And defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Keller, this was a non-violent property crime, so we'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Thank you. With the significance of occurrences and information provided, I am going to order a bond of $5,000 cash or secured in this case. Sir, if you do post that, you will be released to pretrial services. You'll be required to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. You'll be directed to possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. You may possess no firearms or weapons. You may not have any contact with the alleged victim. You may not return to the incident location. Your next court date in this case is going to be March 14th. That's at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. That court date may change, so it is important to stay in touch with your attorney. And then on the shoplifting charge, out of Pima County Justice Court, the first one I'm going to order a bond of $100 cash or secured. Your next court date in that case is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you remain in custody, the jail will make you available for that hearing. If you post bond and are released, it'll be your responsibility to appear. That's at Pima County Justice Court before Judge Cornejo. No contact with the alleged victim. Do not go to the incident location. And then on the possession of drug paraphernalia, let's see. I'll just go ahead and make that concurrent between those two. I think they're in the same status. And that way you can also be heard on that charge tomorrow. So your next court date there will be March 5th at 1 p.m. before Judge Cornejo. The concurrent cash or secured bond of $100. No possession. Do not possess alcohol or illegal drugs. And we'll do the same thing for the reckless learning charge. No alcohol or illegal drugs. And you'll be heard tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Judge Cornejo. And then turning to the Tucson City Court charges. It looks like these have been going on for about 3 years, with the original one having come having been filed in 2022. Oh, thank you. Do you know who it's going to be? Yeah. On those Justice Court misdemeanors, Anna Dennis will be appointed to represent you. And then for the city court, Tucson City Court cases, the Tucson Public Defender's Office will be appointed. I'm ordering a bond of $100 for those cases as well. Possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact of any kind with the alleged victims, and do not return to the incident locations. Your next court date for that case will be March 14th at 1:45. That is before Judge Maldonado for a video review. If you post bond and are released, then your next court date will be April 7th at 9:30 a.m., also before Judge Maldonado. If you fail to appear for any of these cases, warrants will issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
That's it. Mitorena. Oh, yeah, left.
Morning, please state your name.
Cesar Mitorena. Good morning.
You are here on charges of criminal trespass in the first degree to a residential structure, as well as, that's a new felony offense, as well as some older misdemeanor offenses from 2022 and 2024 out of Pima County Justice Court for criminal damage and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire the attorney of your choice. In the new felony charges, I am appointing the legal defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services about you. I've also reviewed the interim complaint on the new charges. And I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $5,000, and if that is posted, that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
And defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mike Lorena has been a Tucson resident for 25 years. This was a nonviolent offense, and his brother indicated that he would be willing to provide transport to any future court hearings. So we'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Thank you. So I'm going to order a bond of $2,000 cash or secured in this matter. Your next court date is going to be March 13th. That's at 1:30 p.m. That is for a preliminary hearing, so that court date could change. It's important to keep in touch with your attorney. I'm ordering that if you post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, have no contact with the alleged victim, do not return to the incident location, and no contact with your co-defendants in this case. Here, let's see. And then in the possession of drug paraphernalia out of Pima County Justice Court,
Yes.
I am going to order a $100 bond. Your next court date is going to be tomorrow at 1 p.m. That will be before Judge Cornejo. The bond is cash or secured, no alcohol or illegal drugs, and for your city court case, which is from 2023, I'm also going to order a bond of $100. Cash or secured. Your next court date will be March 14th at 1:45. That's before Judge Mayhew. That's a video review. If you happen to post bond and be released, then your next court date will be April 8th at 9:30. Also before Judge Mayhew. Anna Dennis will be appointed to represent you in the Justice Court misdemeanor case, and the Tucson City Public Defender will be appointed to represent you in the city case. You're ordered to have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to the incident location. Your next, I already told you your next court date, and if you fail to appear for any of these court dates, warrants can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Adios.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Jesus Munoz.
Mr. Munoz, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on charges of unlawful discharge of a firearm. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you in this case, and you do have counsel seated next to you for the purposes of today's hearing. In considering your conditions of release, I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. I have reviewed the interim complaint, and I have reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $3,500, and if you post that bond, that you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Munoz has no prior convictions. He has no failures to appear. He's a lifelong Tucson resident. He's employed full-time. His mother said she's willing to take third-party custody of Mr. Munoz, and this was also a non-violent crime according to pretrial services report, so we'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Thank you. Sir, if I did give you the chance to be released to pretrial services, would you appear for your future court hearings?
Yes.
And would you surrender any firearms or weapons that are in your possession?
I do not have any, but yes.
Thank you. Okay. All right, so I am going to order that you be released to pretrial services today. Your next court date is going to be March 24th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's for a preliminary hearing. Additional orders are that you submit to monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, that you possess no alcohol and possess or consume no illegal drugs. Consume no alcohol and possess or consume no illegal drugs, that you possess no firearms or weapons, that if any do happen to be in your possession, that you surrender them to local law enforcement immediately. If you fail to appear for future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Hi,
Good morning. Please state your name.
Joseph Paez.
Your Paez, this is the time for your initial appearance. So you have new felony charges of possession of narcotic drug and possession of a dangerous drug. You also have charges out of Tucson City Court for drug paraphernalia and criminal trespass. Those are from 2023 and 2024. There are 4 different charges, and those were all on failure to appear status. I have, in considering your conditions of release, I don't think I said you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. In the new felony matters, I am appointing the Legal Defender's Office to represent you. And we're going to talk about your conditions of release. In considering those, I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. I have also reviewed the interim complaint, and I have reviewed the state's recommendation that I impose a bond of $2,000, and that if you post that bond, you be released to pretrial services. Would the state like to be heard any further?
Your Honor, the state has recommended the bond based on the fact that he's a 6 out of 6 twice over.
Thank you. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Paez is steps eligible for these offenses. He's a lifelong Tucson resident. This was a non-violent offense. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
Thank you. And sir, it looks like you may be eligible for the STEPS diversion program for these felony drug charges. I could set a hearing on March 11th at 9 a.m. to determine whether you are eligible for that pre-indictment diversion program. Would you like me to set that hearing? He's never arrested or appeared on any of these charges. He's only been charged. He's only been charged. He's never been seen because he's not. So was he issued summon the county court? Is that right? They come here. Well, he was given these citations, and they like come and he signs and he. All right. So because of the failure to appear history, I am going to order a bond of $500, cash or secured. Your next court date will be that steps hearing on March 11th at 9 a.m. And then you'll also have a preliminary hearing set on March 14th at 1:30 to determine if the state is going to go forward with the indictment. If you do post bond and are released, you'll be released to pretrial services. You'll submit any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services, and you will not be allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs or any firearms. And then looking at your city court cases, those have been going back for a couple of years, and you have not appeared on those cases. So I am just going to order a bond of $100, cash or secured. Your next court date is going to be March 14th at 1:45 p.m. That's before Judge Maldonado, if you remain in custody. If you post bond and are released, your next court date will be April 7th at 9:30 a.m., also before Judge Maldonado. And the additional orders in that case, if you are released, are to have no contact with the alleged victim of the criminal trespass, do not return to those incident locations, and do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. I am appointing the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. And if you were to fail to appear for any of your future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Marty? All the way out, sir.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Morning is Matthew James Palmati.
Mr. Palmati, this is the time for your initial appearance. You are here on charges of criminal trespass to a residential structure. That's a new felony charge. You also have failure to appear on some other charges, including shoplifting out of Tucson City Court. There's 1, 2, 5 of those out of Tucson City Court and 1 charge of shoplifting out of Marana City Court. Those go back to 2022, but some are from 2023 and 2024. So we're going to, well, you have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice. For the new felony charge, I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. And we're going to talk about your conditions of release. I have reviewed information provided about you by pretrial services. I have reviewed the interim complaint. And I have also reviewed the state's recommendation that you be held on a bond of $5,000 and released to pretrial services if you were to post that bond. Do you have anything further to add for this one, Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, he's a 5 out of 6 and 6 out of 6, has FTA history quite a bit, and the state made its recommendation accordingly.
Thank you. And defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Palmati has been a Tucson resident for 18 years. He has no prior felony convictions. And this was a nonviolent offense. We'd ask for release to pretrial services.
All right, sir. So for the new felony charge, I am going to order a bond of $1,500 cash or secured. If you are able to post that bond, you'll be released to pretrial services. You will be ordered to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. Possess or consume no alcohol or illegal drugs. Have no contact with the alleged victim and do not return to the incident location. No contact with your co-defendants. Your next court date in that case is going to be March 13th at 1:30 for a preliminary hearing. And then for the shoplifting charge out of Marana, I'm just gonna include a bond of $50 so that you can be heard on that one tomorrow, since that can be taken care of. So your next court date for that case will be tomorrow at noon before Judge McDonald. And then the Marana, let's see, I will appoint Janet Altschuler to represent you in that case. Additional orders are no alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with the alleged victim, and do not return to the incident location. And then for the Tucson City Court cases, I will appoint the City of Tucson Public Defender to represent you. I am ordering a bond of $50 in those cases as well. If you are to post bond and be released, do not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, have no contact of any kind with the alleged victim, and do not return to the incident location. Your next court date, if you remain in custody, will be March 14th at 1:45 for video review. If you are released, your next court date will be April 8th at 9:30 a.m. In either case, it will be before Judge Mayhew. If you fail to appear for any future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. You're excused.
Mm-hmm. Little.
Good morning. Please state your name.
Misty Robledo.
Ms. Robledo, this is the time for your initial appearance. You're here on charges of possession of narcotic drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney of your choice, and I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You also have counsel seated next to you for today's purposes. It looks like you are eligible to be screened for STEPS diversion. That's a pre-indictment diversion program in which if you were to be accepted and then successfully complete that program, the state may choose not to go forward with these charges. Are you interested in that hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
It looks like the state has recommended that you be released to pretrial services, and I am inclined to release you to pretrial services. Does the defense have anything further to add?
No, we agree with releasing pretrial services here.
Thank you.
Shell doesn't have any probation violation hold.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, do you have is there a probation hold now?
Yes, ma'am. I'm waiting for Graham County to come for me.
Okay. So in that case, would you like me to order a small bond so that the time counts?
Please, yes.
So I will order that there's a bond of $100, cash or secured. If you are released, you'll be released to the custody of pretrial services. You'll be ordered to submit to any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons. Your steps hearing will be on March 11th, and then you will have a preliminary hearing on March 14th at 1:30. If you are released and fail to appear for future court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're excused.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's done.
Did I miss anything?
There is no.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.